Welcome to Jeets Ohana. Today I was thinking about introducing the topic about implementation and the operation model of Salesforce Marketing Cloud. This topic has come up many a times in different conversations. There are many companies which are onboarding onto Marketing Cloud and they just want to understand before the implementation what are the stages, what is the process which is involved. So before we dive into the implementation and the operation model, just want to recap that every brand is going through a digital transformation. Within the digital transformation, whatever the phase of that transformation, there is a marketing transformation component which we need to keep in mind. So, what is our marketing vision and strategy, the marketing capabilities, and what is our operating model, the resources which are available, what is our data and what is the data model, and then what are these governance and controls we have got to keep the data quality checks and data sanctity. And then in the centralize, okay, what are the marketing tools which we are using, and then what are the processes which we need to define to optimize these tools, and how are we measuring the performance. All right, so this is something definitely we need to keep in mind. With that, now I will go to this slide which I had come across quite a maybe more than a year ago, but it impressed me a lot because it clearly defined what the different stages of Salesforce Marketing Cloud implementation are. Now here we see is the first phase is the design phase, then we go into the build phase, and then we deploy and we complete the implementation. Now, in the design phase, the first thing is that there is a preparation needed in terms of gathering the requirements and trying to understand, okay, why do we need Marketing Cloud? What is Marketing Cloud solving for us? And then what all it involves in terms of the transformation. So, is there a legacy system? Is there something which we are setting up from scratch, and therefore is there migration involved? Or if we are setting up from scratch, then what are these new emails or communication channels which we need to activate? And then discuss basically a lot of these initial topics which are helpful in understanding what all is involved, and you can call it basically a client brief. And from there is an exchange between the team, within the sales team, within the Salesforce marketing implementation team, within the various stakeholders of what all we need to do. Based on that, then we have a project kickoff and we start defining the solution. And this is where the discovery happens. So there are these multiple discovery sessions and we define the solution. And then there is a blueprint which is developed based on the discovery. So there are user stories which are defined, and then from the user story, there are conceptual design and quality assurance processes, and conceptual design presentation, and configuration spec development and QA, and then there is a client approval of the blueprint. In the build phase, the work packages are then assigned to the technical architects and the technical team who start configuring the Marketing Cloud instance, and they work on these different work packages which are defined as per the initial blueprint requirements. So these could be like business unit setups, sender profiles, or activating different studios or journey builders or different aspects of the platform. And once these have been configured, they go through the quality assurance process. And after that, it has been handed back to the project lead team. You can say that the build phase has finished, and then it is ready for deployment. Before this, then the user acceptance test is done, where the end users test the solution which has been built, and based on their approval or change request, the final solution is defined. This final solution is then defined and recorded into the final blueprint document, So here the initial requirement is captured, and then after the building of the solution and deploying it after the UAT, it is again the document is updated with the final solution. This then moves into the completion phase where the handover is given to the marketing or campaign team, and the requirement to run the service is arranged by the marketing or campaign team. It could be internal resources or it could be external resources, or some businesses they take managed campaign management services from other firms who are proficient in implementing and understanding and executing Salesforce Marketing Cloud campaigns. And then there's a relationship manager handoff and sales team feedback loop. So these are mostly relevant to when Salesforce is directly involved or a consulting firm is directly involved. These are some of the steps which take place and the project is closed. So as you can see, this is more linear in the sense that it follows a kind of waterfall methodology where first we go through the design phase, then the build phase, then the deployment phase, and the completion of the implementation. Now, in the new world, we have new methodologies like Agile and Scrum, which are being used, and then working with hybrid model also, where part of the project is waterfall and the other part is Agile. Maybe I'll deep dive into these methodologies and their relationship in implementing marketing cloud campaigns or marketing cloud setup. I could touch upon this on a separate video maybe, but here what you could see or visualize is that in the new world, what we are doing is we are breaking down the design phase into chunks and then creating a backlog and then building it and then testing it and completing it. So with this, I tried to imagine how I could translate this into a simple model which is easily understandable and more relatable. So with that objective, I created this transformation model and I named it ATOM, which stands for Assessment, Translate, Operate, and Manage. Now, what does this mean? Basically, the first phase is the assessment phase, where we have the client inputs that what is the marketing technology roadmap, what is the strategy, what are the current processes, and then who are the stakeholders and what are their roles. And then after this gathering of this information, the requirement gathering is done and the scope is defined. And then we are able to do some requirement workshops. Based on these workshops, we also define then what the technology integrations are needed. So therefore, for that, we need to understand what is the current technology, and there is a proper technical analysis done with the IT team with various interviews. Once this assessment phase is completed, then we move on to the translate. What this means is we set up the project, we define a methodology which we were going to follow, and the setup is done for the project by defining an organigram for the core project team, and roles or responsibilities are clearly defined. And then we start the functional analysis, that by doing some more workshops in terms of with the business and the marketers and product team or the sales team, we start defining the solution. And after the functional analysis, we have a need gap which is defined, and we then start working on the data workflow. This is one of the most critical things, because all our marketing activities from the Salesforce marketing platform is dependent on the data which is available. And therefore, a technical specification of data flow is defined, which is basically based on the architecture. And this technical documentation is then approved by the technical team. And then the integration workflow is then clearly defined, that what is going to be the data model and how the data from the different platforms is going to flow into Marketing Cloud for the campaign execution. And then begins our setup. So the application setup, the account configuration, the user management, so the different roles and their accesses, the folder management within the Marketing Cloud instance, so that all the content and journeys and emails can be set up based on business units or brands or as per the requirement of the company. And then the technical implementation, where the data management and integration and the if there are any other applications, or maybe social media applications or analytics applications which need to be integrated, or there is a data warehouse where the data needs to be fetched from and pushed back to. These kind of integrations are managed in this phase, and then there are journeys and analytics which are set up. After this, to run these journeys and campaigns, we need the content. So the functional implementation is creating, first migrating or updating the content into the platform, creating the email templates, localization and language management, and then component creation of the various aspects of Marketing Cloud. And then after this key implementation, we look into the rollout phase where we do the quality assurance, the user acceptance test, and if there are any fixes, we fix the issues, and then we go into deployment. So with this, we finish our initial setup, and then we need to now manage the platform. And this is where we need to first train all the users. There has to be a technical training, because now if the platform is managed by the business, then they need to work closely with the IT team, who need to understand how to work with the technical aspect of the platform. And then we have definitely, because we need to analyze our campaigns which are going out from Marketing Cloud, the dashboards or Tableau or Power BI integrations need to be done, and they need to be constantly optimized so that it's easier for the business to see reporting and take decision based on the data which is displayed back. And then this one is managing the campaigns, and this is an ongoing task, and this is a very key aspect of Marketing Cloud implementation and post implementation, you can say, where we need to define how every month, every quarter, every year we are going to execute campaigns, we are going to expand and build our journeys. And this takes the center stage after robust implementation has been done. On this topic also, maybe I will try and make a separate video and talk a bit about it, where I touch upon MarTech or managed services, and how they are managed. And then at the end, once you get good at a business gets very fairly confident in managing the campaigns, then it goes into scaling the solution and defining new requirements and managing additional requirements from the business. So this is what my objective was, to show you how assessment, translate, operate, and manage could be an easier way to understand what are the different steps and the different requirements of an end-to-end marketing automation campaign or automation requirement. And with this, I think I hope I have been able to help you. Feel free to leave comments if you have any questions, and thank you very much.